Welcome back, everybody. Got a new video. Same as before, nothing meant for legal purposes. I'm talking about history, experience, knowledge. And on this subject, I have some knowledge, but it's and nothing intended for legal purposes. I repeat myself over and over again just to be clear. This topic, or this dog that I'm talking about today, very popular. Lots of dogs come down from him. Champions, grand champions, many winners, ROM male and females. Just one of the top dogs in the history of the American Pit Bull Terrier. Cairns Grand Champion Yellow, 5-time winner ROM. He's credited with basically starting the Red Boy Jocko cross, although that cross was made through his mother's several generations back of Red Boy to Jocko blood with some Lonzo Andy blood. So that even though that breeding was made several generations back, Yellow is credited with the inception of the Red Boy Jocko stuff because he was a good dog, good litter mates, popular producer, competitor, and that's where it really kicked off, I think. Of course, from the Carolinas, hotbed in my day and before and after, and a lot of good dogmen from there. So Yellow's sire was Fletcher Chavis, champion Yellow John, 4-time winner. His dam was Tance Miss Jocko or Chavis's Mod. There's always controversy about these dogs. If I remember correctly, Miss Jocko and Mod were litter mates, so it's similar breeding. Which one it is, I don't know. But that's the way the pet is written down off of Miss Jocko, who was a 2-time winner as well. So you see performance right off the get. And Yellow John was actually a triple bred Red Boy dog, meaning Red Boy was his sire, was his grandsire and great grandsire. So Yellow John's off of Red Boy and Marlowe's Red Feather. Marlowe, of course, Katie Marlowe, the Carolina Kitten, top dog woman in her day, produced a lot of good dogs. Most any Red Boy dog either came down from her stuff or was bred similar to her stuff. She wasn't the only one that had it. Different people had it, but she generally, that's her bloodline. That's what she ran. So we have Red Boy being bred to Marlowe's Red Feather and Bass's Cat and Bass's Cleo. That's the makeup of Yellow John. And of course Cleo and Kobe bred female. Everybody knows Red Boy. On the pedigree it says Kobe, who knows, OFRN, all that stuff been talked about. Teal's tip, he could have been sired by, whatever it is, Red Boy was a top producer. And you can only go by what's written down. Any speculation is just that, speculation. If somebody knows the truth, they can give facts rather than what they were told. Those people are probably not alive anymore, which it's okay. Because in my opinion, regardless of how a dog is bred, if they're a good dog and a good competitor, good producer, that's all I care about. I'll take it from there as far as my breedings are concerned. Tance Miss Jocko is a 2-time winner, sired by Chavis Champion Jocko, 4-time winner out of Chavis's Lady Rose, game loser. Jocko being a 4-time winner, known for being that heavy stifle fighting dog. His sire, Jackson's Hank, was also a 4-time winner, known for being a heavy stifle dog. And then Bob Rass Queenie, who was an ROM, was a dam of Jocko. Jocko had several litter mates that were competitive. Champion Argo, 4-time winner, 1-time loser, was his litter mate. Champion Apple, 2-time winner or 3-time winner. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but she was a winner. and I believe she lost, either she lost to or her daughter lost to Bass's Molly B, the great 8-time winner female. I think it was Apple that lost to her. So hot and heavy competition, heavy well-bred dogs and top dog men. Lady Rose was sired by Champion Jocko out of Chavis Lady Sassy Mead, Champion Lady Sassy Mead, another 4-time winner. So on the top you have triple bred Red Boy, on the bottom you have double bred Jocko. Put them together, you have Grand Champion Yellow and a slew of other dogs. So you have performance, you have production, all behind it. There's no question as to why these dogs produce. And if you want to look at it this way, this isn't standard or by any means, but you have the classic combination of heavy Red Boy dogs known for their gameness, heavy Jocko dogs known for their power and mouth. Put them together, you get the best of both worlds. That doesn't mean that either side didn't have mouth or gameness. Doesn't mean that Red Boy dogs were only game. Some of them had mouth. Doesn't mean that Jocko dogs were only hard biters. Some of them were game also. It's just when traits like those two, gameness and mouth, stand out, that's kind of what the dogs are known for. It doesn't mean it's lacking other stuff, because you need a lot more than either one to win back in the day. But that's what they're noted for. So, and nothing wrong with that. So, Yellow, a very popular dog back in his day, originally owned by either Tant or Chavis or whatever. Not originally owned by. Yellow, yes, originally owned by Tant. He's the one who made the breeding, or Chavis did. I forget which one, or I'm not clear. I don't know if Tant had the female made the breeding, or Chavis made the breeding, and then they bought Yellow, which that seems to be the way it was, because he was bought after his first win. So Yellow John, little history. Yellow John ended up with Donnie Holcomb, I think, at the end of his life. He was with Donnie Holcomb, purchased him or was given to him or whatever. His siblings were George's, some of them were George's Triple Aught Red, known as the blind dog because he scratched blind. A desperately game dog. Marlowe's Venom, of course, Katie Marlowe again. Then you have Frank Jacobs, Rachel Jacobs, another Carolina dogman, top dogman, well known. Some of Yellow John's offspring, a lot of famous dogs, and again bloodlines and families of dogs down from Yellow John besides Yellow. So some of his other offspring were, besides Grand Champion Yellow, were SDP's Champion Sassy, SDP's Champion Toro, 4-time winner, 1-time loser to Red Becker's Charlie. Super Nat's Boots was a 4-hour winner. Grand Champion John Boy, tough dog by all accounts. Gainey's JR, Melvin Gainey, another top dog man from the Carolinas. JR was a 5-time winner, and Tant's Champion Rocco. Those are some of the offspring of Yellow John. Some of the offspring of Miss Jocko were of course Grand Champion Yellow, Champion Sassy JR. Tant's, other than that, Tant's Loco, Dolly, Rojo 2, Rocket, and Chavis's Mr. Jocko. So those are some of the other offspring of Tant's Miss Jocko. Some of her siblings were Chavis's Susie, Tant's Flipper, Chavis's Maud. There's that controversy which female it's out of, Tant's John Henry. So a lot of production, a lot of competition. Different dogmen had the blood, used it. As far as Grand Champion Yellow concerned, he was a 6-time winner. Here's his official record. First win, and I think he was only 13 or 14 months old when he won his first show. That was over Sinith Tojo at 51 pounds, 54 minutes. Then he beat Carolina Kittens Roscoe at 52 pounds in 50 minutes. Pax Kung Fu, 52 pounds in 30 minutes. Pax Bo, 52 pounds in 2 hours and 37 minutes. Groves Rufus Jr., of course everybody knows Harry Hargrove. That one went as 52 pounds in 53 minutes, and then again into Pac at 50 pounds for an hour and 15. So he covered the gamut of a couple of different weights and different times, winning as short as 30 minutes and as long as 2 hours 37 minutes. Pac went into him 3 times, so I guess he figured he could beat him, you know. He never did. He tried, lost in short time, lost in long time. But everybody knows Kitten and Hargrove's top dogmen too. So that's basically his record. Of course, some of his offspring, like I said, were very famous dogs, had bloodlines of their own. ROMs, champions, grand champions, all that. So I'll mention some of them. Of course, everybody knows the very famous grand champion Mayday, Havana Boys grand champion Rodney, Stone City's Awesome Baby, ROM Cruz Sassy Lady, Southern Kennels Dragon Lady, and Champion Choice, Hollingsworth Sugarfoot, Hardcore Kennels champion Redman, ROM champion Bozak, Tance Triple A, Red Devil, Lola, Bruiser, Otter's Lady, a 2-time winner. Otter was a far north dogman, known for having a lot of the Tombstone Red Baby stuff, a lot of the Tonka stuff. He had other blood too, and this is one of them. But Otter's Croc would be another dog that might be familiar with some people. Several champions, and of course Wakama's Blondie, another dogman that ran with this blood, did well with it. Cruz Champion Outlaw, that's Carl Cruz. Bogart's Pigeon, Hardcore Kennels Felony, PK's Yellowman, ROM. After Yellow won his first match, which I mentioned was at an early age, he was purchased for $800 by Carl Cruz and Tant. And his date of birth is somewhere around September 1983. One of the things about him is he was known to do just enough to win. And I was familiar with some of that blood, and they're rugged, durable, tough, steady pace. Some have good mouth, and they're strong, and they're built for taking punishment and giving punishment. I see him just kind of like an all-around athlete, not known for being super fast or quick or anything like that. I'm not saying that some of them ain't. I'm just giving a general observation of the ones I saw and the ones I read about, and that's what Yellow was known to be like, doing just enough to win. Kind of like if you read about Stephen Company's grand champion Lucky Strike, the bird dog, kind of like that. They're patient, they're steady, they're tough, stay just a step ahead. When they feel their opponent weakened, they go in for the finish. And I would say the same thing about Yellow doing that, because he did have short wins. So it wasn't that he just won on gameness or anything like that. He had to have a lot of ability, because when the opportunity presents itself, a good dog, especially a good game dog, will go in for the finish. And you see him winning in 30 minutes, 50 minutes. So I suspect that's Yellow had that intelligence. He could tell when it was time for him to dominate, go in for the finish, end it. If it had to go some time like he did in an hour 15 and 2 hours and 37 minutes, he was there, patient, steady, staying ahead of his opponent. It's almost like dogs like that, they read their opponent very well, and they understand what's happening, and they go along with how the show is going. And then when they see certain opportunities, whether it's time to finish it or whether it's change holds or move a certain way or use defense this way and go in with offense that way. That's their intelligence. They can read their opponent. A lot of that has to do with how the opponent's moving, how the opponent's feeling, whether they're getting weak, whether they're still strong, so they wait. And those are attributes, fine attributes for a dog of high caliber, right? It'd be like a boxer. If the opportunity presents itself, he's going to knock you out. If it doesn't, he's there to go the 15 rounds back in the day. Still strong all the way to the end, patient, control their breathing, smart, wily, have poise, things like that. Those dogs are very hard to beat because we generally think of dogs as having a particular style and good at certain things, and those dogs are great too. But when you have a dog that's kind of all around like that can deal with any situation, still have finish, and Yellow even wasn't even known for scratching real hard, and that might have been why he was sold, right? But that doesn't mean that he wasn't game. He was. It doesn't mean that he didn't know what was going on. He did, and how to counter and how to attack, when to use defense, when to use offense, and he proved that, which is probably why Pack kept coming back at him. I'm just speculating, but you see things, you go, man, I got another one. I'll try it again, and I'll try it again. And he did go short distance, he did go long distance, but he never could get it done because of the quality of Yellow, right? Which, like I said, that's what makes great dogs sometimes, that ability to read and recognize certain things. So you have, and like I said, a lot of different bloodlines came down from him. There's question of who was his best son. Most people will say Mayday, because Mayday himself was a 5-time winner, grand champion, and a ROM, and different bloodlines down off of him, different stuff, like the grand champion Buck stuff crossed into that, and Tombstone Red Baby stuff in there and crossed in later, and different things used with the Eli stuff, and so you can make a case that Mayday was his best producing offspring, as well as being a great competitor. I've heard from other people that were familiar with Grand Champion Rodney, who that was his best son as far as competition goes. The team that had him, I forget who had him before Havana Boys, but they finished him out as Grand Championship. His weights fluctuated a little bit, 46 to 48, I think, so he could compete at different weights, or maybe it was 44 to 46, whatever it was, competed a couple of different weights and still win, beat top guys. I saw him on video. He was a very good dog. He could do it all. He had mouth, strong, rough, smart. So those are the two cases. Maybe no question Mayday was the better producer, and in some people's eyes, no question that Rodney was the better competitor, best competitor, son off of him. Right? That's just opinion. You would have to have seen both, and I only saw Rodney on video. But there's no question that the Mayday stuff is worldwide and very popular, and for good reason. And you have a lot of these dogs, I mentioned Grand Champion John Boy and Triple Lot Red and all that, producing good dogs. John Boy had this penchant for getting loose. We've heard different ways of people confining the dogs, using a lock on their chain, double collar, put them in kennels and this and that. He escaped everything. I think that's how he met his demise, was that he escaped and got in some kennel fights. Don't quote me, I'm not sure, but it was something like that. He died younger than he normally would, but I know he was known to be an escape artist. There's articles written about it on him, but he was a great dog. And if my memory serves me correct, again, John Boy didn't have long distance fights. He was very rough and strong, put him away early. If one or two of his fights went an hour, those were probably the longest he had. Most of them were shorter than that. And then you have STP's champion Toro, who was a long distance dog. He had at least 2 fights that went close to or over the hour mark, maybe more. He was known as that long distance game type of dog. Went into Red Becker's Charlie B, another very famous dog who was a champion beater. He beat champion Ali and beat champion Toro, and I think he beat Gaines Fargo, or Doc's champion Mo, grandson of Zebo, right? So Charlie B was a badass too. He beat Toro, but Toro game as hell. And again, all these, Southern Kennels and Hollingsworth and Hardcore Kennels and Tant with the AAA and Red Devil, Lola, Bruiser, Otter. These people recognize the quality of these individuals and the quality of these bloodlines, and some of them started their own families of dogs off of them, and they went on become champions, grand champions, winners, ROM, like that. So there's a reason that this stuff is hung around so long, because it's solid blood used by solid dogmen, and other things. Maybe, a lot of people just like the way they're built, they like their structure, they like their attitude, they like their ability. In my mind, they're different from, say, a Boleo dog or even an Eli dog, right? They have kind of their own particular look, their own particular style and intelligence, something different. And again, coming out of the Carolinas, all these plethora of different dogmen and bloodlines. The Carolinas, of course, they're known for the Red Boy stuff, and of course they're known for the Jocko stuff, but they're also known for the, having the Paladin stuff, and some Eli and Carver dogs going through, Grand Champion Spike, and the Chinaman stuff was out there, and even the, the outlaw stuff, and you have the Bobby Holland's blood and the Turkey blood, which is real similar to Red Boy stuff on paper. So you just have a bunch of Zebo blood, and Rostamans from there, and you have David Miller and Danny Green and Frank Jacob and Fletcher Chavez and Tant, and there's so many of them that they, I forget. And so many dogs, along with the Lopeses, and you have Molly B and all these different great dogs coming out of there. You got Champion Whiskey, and TJ's Champion Whiskey, and Outlaw. And, you got I just mentioned his name, Harry Hargroves, with all that heavy Carver, Eli, and different stuff. Like I said, a hotbed at one time. As busy and having as great a dogs and dogman as any place in the country at the time. And of course, this stuff, it goes all over the world. My experience with them wasn't so much with dogs right off of Yellow or even right off of Mayday. I don't know if they were off of Mayday, but it's that blood. So for example, the Croata has some of that stuff in it. And I saw G&G Kennels champion Black win his third match in 2 hours and 17 minutes. He beat a descendant of Morgan's Voodoo, and it was a good show. That Morgan's Voodoo dog got into Black's stifle, worried him for a while. Big old ball, in his stifle, and he just kept at it. And finally, he won. At 2 hours and 17 minutes. Just a solid dog, good performer. And I refereed, there's a guy that went down to Mexico years ago, had the same blood, and he brought 8 dogs. I refereed 5 of them. So in total, they won 3, lost 4, and had 1 draw in an hour and a half. But the thing that I was impressed with was their conditioning and their consistency. They were in good shape. They were steady. Good performers. Solid dogs. And then I saw another one, female bred that way. She was a 2-time winner. Rough as hell. Went into OTK's Daisy. It was Daisy's first show. And for about 10 minutes, it was hell for both of them. Daisy took over pretty quick and won in 22 minutes, got best in show. But that Mayday yellow, yellow, whatever female, that stuff, she was no slouch. She was rough. She took a chunk of lip off of Daisy on one side, just a little piece of it. She no quit in her, and she was rough. It just reminded me of dogs that I had seen that performed like that. And they're just, that's one thing I would say, they're consistent and they're steady. Or a couple of things anyways, I would say, is they're consistent and steady. And that's what I liked about them. I like seeing families of dogs like that. No surprise behind them, no funny stuff, no funny moves, no, just steady, consistent. If they're in good shape, you can win. So there's a reason why they became so popular. A lot of people say, certain dogs, well, they were bred a lot. That's why they're ROMs and PORs and all this. That's true. But they wouldn't be PORs and ROMs and have bloodlines named after them and their progeny have bloodlines, become champions and all that if they weren't good producers. So a dog that is bred a lot has to produce a lot. Dogs like Jeep and Mayday, Yellow John. I don't know how much Yellow John was, but he was bred enough. If they're bred a lot, they have to produce a lot, and they did. Dogs like Boomerang, bred a lot, yeah. Produced a lot, yeah. Boleo, yeah, same thing. So there's a reason these dogs get bloodlines named after them. Some exceptions would be Tombstone. He wasn't really bred a lot, maybe 10 or 11 times, 12, whatever it is. He still produced great dogs almost every litter, and that's another sign of a great producer. Like Yellow John, like Yellow, like Mayday, is they produce to almost anything you breed them to. And even if they're not bred to particularly different bred females, all different kinds, as you go down in generations, their offspring and progeny are. So even if you kept Yellow and they bred him mostly to his family, mostly line breeding and inbreeding or loose line breeding, tight, close bred stuff like that, later on his progeny and even offspring were bred to different stuff. They could have been bred to Boleo stuff like what's in Mayday, and that's behind him too. So and buck stuff, that cross with the Mayday stuff. Naturally, they're bred to Eli stuff, a lot of different Eli dogs, Jeep dogs, Jeep Red Boy dogs, where there's some similarity, but the Jeep would be an out in that. Like I mentioned earlier, they were bred to the Lonzo's Angie stuff, Andy and Angie stuff. That's behind Yellow's bottom side, 4 generations back. So it produced from that as well, which would be heavy Divo stuff bred to the Red Boy stuff. And I'm not familiar with all the breedings, but stuff like that, you can pretty much breed it to almost anything and you're going to get something good out of it, as long as the dogs are solid and productive and competitive. So that's part of the reason that makes these dogs popular. Another thing is they're available. A lot of dogs are not let out. People don't let dogs outside their yard. They keep a closed yard, keep it to themselves. And people want dogs, so they're going to go to people that have the dogs available. Within that, you're going to have some junk that comes out of that, because not everybody was using them like we were in the past for competition. They just wanted a well-bred dog. Maybe it was a pet, maybe they did other stuff, maybe it didn't pan out, maybe they never even found out that whether it panned out or not, and maybe it didn't quit, maybe they never touched them. But they were popular enough and available enough where if somebody wanted a pit bull, they'd get it. That happened with the Jeep dogs, happened with the Mayday stuff, happened with the yellow stuff, happened with the Frisco stuff, happened with the Chinaman stuff. Not all of them were used in competition, so you can only go by the ones that were. And within that, you find, can they produce? And in the dogs that I mentioned, dogs that have bloodlines named after them that were competitors, and some that weren't competitors but were bred significantly, were good producers. So that's kind of the way I looked at it. Not so much how many times they were bred or what they were bred to, is can they produce, and did they produce? And even if you have a ton of them, out of that ton of dogs, taking into consideration that some were used for production, some were used for competition, some were never used, some quit, some were game as hell, what are the results of that? You take all that into consideration, you have the end result, you have the facts, you have the stats, all that stuff. And that's why those dogs get bloodlines named after them, because they proved their self above and beyond that they were good competitors and they could win. And they could produce. And again, also their offspring and progeny. So dogs like Yellow John and Red Feather and Grand Champion Yellow and Champion Toro and Champion Sassy and Mayday and Rodney and Triple A and Redman and Sugarfoot, all these dogs that I mentioned deserve to be mentioned as being some of the top dogs that were competed and or produced good dogs. That's why I made this video, because in my day, that's what Yellow was known for. And he has the pedigree to back it up, he has the productivity to back him up, and the competition to back him up too. So it's another one along the list of some great dogs. I'll do some more. I have some more interviews coming up and repeat interviews and different stuff. Thanks everybody for your donations and your suggestions for vids and your purchases. Get a hold of me at Richard J. Schoolboy60 at gmail.com, Instagram or Facebook Messenger for any registrations you want to do or purchase of Pitbull memorabilia, books, all that stuff. You know the score. Press the like button. Thanks for your support, and more on the way. Thank you.